Hello Booktube and welcome to my bookshelves. So how do you treat your books? Now today I'm going to do a little chatty type video. This was prompted by a Radio 2 segment in the UK, BBC Radio 2. They have a discussion programme in the middle of the day, Jeremy Vine show. Normally they discuss politics and Brexit and serious things. But on this day there was a discussion on tearing books, and I'll leave a link down below. I think it's another couple of weeks it's available in the iPlayer in the UK. But the discussion video was tearing books. How do you treat your books? Do you fold down the pages as bookmarks? One caller said that when he's on holiday, when he reads a book, he will actually tear the pages out as he reads them. So when he comes back to it the next day, he knows exactly where he's got to, which is shocking, really. But so I've got a few questions I'm going to ask myself and answer, and then get you to comment down below, and we can have a conversation. How do you treat your books? So first off, do you prefer to buy brand new books or second-hand books? And do you prefer hardback to paperback or even audiobooks? So what type of book would you buy? So if a brand new book came out and you were desperate to have it, would you immediately be there, first day publication, hardback, pay the £15-16 in Waterstones just because you had to have it? Or would you wait until a paperback is released? Or would you even wait until you found it in a charity shop? Now, most of my books on my shelf I have got from charity shops. There are a few new ones, but mostly they're charity shop finds. But if you were to come across a book like this in a charity shop, this is John Dickson Carr's Till Death Do Us Part. Now, on the front it doesn't look too bad, but the side, it's all scratched and worn. You can hardly read it. Pages are all sort of yellowy inside. You can still perfectly readable, slightly crumpled on the back. Would you buy that from a charity shop? I mean, if it wasn't a John Dickson Carr, I would probably look at that and think, no, I wouldn't buy that. I'd wait until I found a better copy. But John Dickson Carr's so hard to find that you have to snap up what you can get sometimes. But would you like a book like that on your shelf? Or would you prefer a brand new book? So my Agatha Christie collection is made up of all different editions. So I've got the new ones, which I did actually buy new. So this is like the new edition, which I quite like. I do like these editions. So these are slightly older editions. I do like the design of these. I've even got, again, second-hand, even found this one. This is called Hickory Dickory Death. And this is the American version. In the UK, it's called Hickory Dickory Dock, after the nursery rhyme. But this is the US edition. It costs $1.95. So I've got all sorts of mismatch of editions of my Agatha Christie's. I mean, I would like them all to be in the same edition, but it doesn't really bother me. As long as I've got the book, does it really matter that they're in different editions, different styles, different sizes even? Or would you prefer a uniform edition of a complete set of whichever author you are reading? And again, do you prefer hardbacks over paperbacks? I prefer paperbacks. I've got hardbacks. My Terry Pratchett collection, as you can see behind me, they're all in hardback, including this one, which is Hogfather, which is actually signed by Terry Practchett. So this is one of his quite special. So yeah, I've got the majority of the Terry Pratchett's are all in hardback, and I did buy them brand new when they first came out. I think I pre-ordered some of them, so they were there hardback straight away, because I loved Terry Pratchett when I was a teenager and in my 20s. So, but now I would prefer to buy paperbacks, to be honest. So when you've got your book and you're reading the book, how do you treat your book? Do you use a proper bookmark, and do you use the same bookmark for everything? Or do you have different bookmarks for different genres? Or do you not use bookmarks and just use whatever is at hand? Personally, I don't have a bookmark. I just use whatever's lying around. You know, train tickets, bus tickets, bits of paper, well, you know, scraps of paper, whatever is close at hand that I can stick in the middle of the book, and that is fine. Or are you one of these who would turn down the corner of the page to mark where you are? Or are you like the caller on the Jeremy Vine show? Would you even rip out the pages and the chapters that you have read in that book? I still can't believe that. And when you're not reading the book, how would you treat it? Would you, for example, have a cup of tea? Would you put your cup of tea on top of your books? Or do you treat them with kid gloves and try and keep them flat and try and keep anything from crumpling the pages? And which end of the spectrum are you? Are you obsessive about your books, or could you not care less? It's a book, you know. It's a book, I've read it, I'll chuck it away. Doesn't really matter how I treat it. And when you store your books, how do you arrange your books on your bookshelves? Are they vertically stacked like this, or do you pile them up horizontally? And does it really make a difference? If you have a stack of books going that way, does it really damage the books in any way, or do they have to be sort of across the bookshelf? And what do you do when you finish your book? So you've read your book, you've enjoyed it, maybe a 4-star read, maybe a 5-star read, but you're not likely to read it again for a couple of years. What do you do with it? Does it stay on your shelf? Do you give it to a friend? Do you charity shop it? Does it just gather dust on your shelf, never to be read again? Again, for me, it depends on the author. My Agatha Christie's I will keep on my shelf, obviously, and I will read. I may not read it for 2 years, but it will stay on my shelf because I have to have it on my shelf. Same with the two Pratchetts. Probably won't read them for another couple of years, but they will stay on my shelf so they're there when I want to read them. Other books I would charity shop. Some books I would give my wife to read. So I just finished Dark Matter by Blake Crouch, which is absolutely brilliant. I'll wrap that up in March. Absolutely brilliant. But I read it, and I knew my wife would like it, so I immediately said, as soon as I'd finished it, I chucked it over to her and said, right, there's your next book. She's read it and she loved it as well. So we both gave it a high rating. So, but what would you do after that? So we've both read it now. We're not likely to read it again for years and years. So does this just sit on my shelf gathering dust? Or do I give it to a friend? Do I charity shop it? And that means somebody else then can enjoy the book as much as we did. What books do you have to keep on your shelf? And what would you give away? So tell me down in the comments below, how do you treat your books? And if any of you say that you tear the pages out of books as you read them, then you're going on the block list. Anyway, that's all from me for today. I will be back with my February wrap-up next week. We start rehearsing next week for A Murder's Announced by Agatha Christie. So I'll be in rehearsals twice a week, plus some weekends. So I won't have as much time to do Booktube videos. So I'll try and do at least one a week and update you on the rehearsals and what I'm reading. And I will see you again in my next video.